Out of all the females that you've trained that actually got strong, has any of them complained that they got strong or they even packed on some muscle on their frame?
No, I mean, I'm sure like you see that where you're like, you just get started with someone who's maybe scared of lifting. And then after a while, like they will come and be like super excited, being like, wow, look at this little bicep I got. Like, look at this little
they get bought in. They get bought in later.
Yeah. Welcome to the Movement Hub podcast. And we have a very special guest today. And Josh will be the one who is going to introduce this guest.
This is Maggi, guys. Maggi Gao. We met during RKC level 2, 2022, 23? Was it 22?
22.
It was a level 2. It was in the Upper West Side in Manhattan, in the great city of New York City. And ever since then, we've been following your stuff. Pretty cool. Huh? Yes.
It. Thank you.
Pretty cool stuff. You got a lot of things going on, and then that's what we're gonna dig into. We just did a workout. How you feel after that workout?
Yeah. I know I say like this is my general workout, but I just like sat down on here and like, wow, my legs. They're gonna feel it tomorrow.
One thing we were saying in between the setup is that this workout was a realistic workout. I felt like it was very focused on the legs, but it wasn't too much where it would destroy me the next day, where I wouldn't be functional to do whatever I wanted to do tomorrow, you know? And I think it's like, that's real and that's progress. And you could definitely load it up from week to week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the idea.
That is the idea, guys. That's what we've been trying to say the last 84 episodes.
It's 95.
95. Who's counting?
But before we move on to this episode of the podcast, can you give us a little bit of information about who you are, what you do, and all the other stuff that you would like to let our viewers know?
Sure. Where do I look? Do I?
Anywhere? Yeah.
Okay. I was like,
We're
there's so
everywhere.
many things
We got
happening.
camera there. So
Yeah.
but that one's probably
Just,
Okay.
yeah, you know, we're just shooting the shit.
We're having a conversation.
We're just having a conversation. Drinking a little gin and tonic.
Yeah. Let's
Guys, cheers, salute.
salute.
Salute. Producer Haley, if you could project your voice. We are -1 mic, guys, so we need to work. We need to get another mic for next week. But
yeah.
she'll signal to me, and then I'll tell everybody what she's saying.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, my name is Maggie. I am a personal trainer based in New York City. I do mostly online training. I do in person as well, if people are local. But I train people all over the world, pretty much. And sorry, Teddy is he's really needy right now. I don't know if you can see his little like.
Teddy is also our guest, guys.
Yeah.
You can probably see his little snout.
Yeah. And not just.
What are you scratching over there?
But yeah, so I mostly work with kettlebells. So I say like I mostly want if clients do want to work with me, they generally come to me for kettlebell work to refine their kettlebell skills or just to learn a bit more about how to use kettlebells. Yeah. Also, speaking of animals, I have an assistant coach named Bandit. So if you do online work with me, he tends to like pop in the screen and hello.
Just like this guy.
He tends to pop in the screen and he'll just sit there assistant coaching. He'll also be very judgy while staring at you on the screen.
Also this guy.
Oh, yeah. What the heck?
You mentioned that you say all over the world, and I think you discussed that. I think you mentioned that it's 70% online and 30% in person. How far does your reach go?
So I have not like currently, but I have had people in Australia. I had someone in Syria do my workouts.
That's so
very
cool.
interesting. This was during COVID when people were trying to do. Yeah,
they're trying to find you.
I mean, it's fun to say, but and then I have people in England, China, all over the States as well. It just like on and off depending on who's rotating. I have most of my clients are tri-state local. So like even if they don't want to come into the city for an in-person workout, say like if they're in Jersey or like Long Island, I still train them online and they still hopefully get benefit from that. Well, I'm having a lot of fun. Hope they have a lot of fun.
The majority of the people who come and seek you online have very minimal experience with kettlebells, or they have somewhat of an idea of how to work them and just trying to refine their skills with it?
It's kind of 50-50. So I get people who want to test for RPC or Strong First or another kettlebell certification that requires you to have these physical skills. And I help them refine that. And then, it's an ongoing, we keep in touch. Or I have these people who are, they want to have more fitness in their lives and they want to have a better routine and they just want to know more. So that's not necessarily just kettlebells, but kettlebells are a fun way to also add some other avenues of fitness.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you normally require people to have their own kettlebell sets, or normally they have their own gym? What's usually the setup of the people that are reaching out to you when you're there?
Usually they have their own. It depends if we're doing Zoom or FaceTime workouts versus if I'm just writing a program. Because if I'm writing a program, you don't necessarily have to be on the call when you're doing the workout. So people who do that tend to have their own gyms and will video at their own gyms, and then send me form feedback,
Nice.
Form videos for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on a Zoom call with me, people usually start off with a couple dumbbells because they want a bit more guidance than just doing something every day. But usually those collections will grow. So I saw that happen during COVID, especially when people were like, okay, I managed to secure a set of dumbbells. What else can I get? And they would grow their own gyms and then eventually may or may not come back to in person because they're like, we really like working out at home, and that's kind of my situation too, because I grew my kettlebell collection, my babies. And I have a whole setup at home. I don't really need to go anywhere.
Getting into the genesis of kettlebells, when did you start getting into kettlebells and why is this the training that you stick with?
Sorry, that was really cold.
Sorry. I followed the directions. It said serve 2 parts gin to over ice and tonic.
No, it's really good.
Okay.
It's just I'm really Asian. I can't really do
You get the flush?
I know I don't get the flush,
Okay.
but I drink room
You would see it in
temperature
real
water.
time. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
the flush.
the Asian flush.
The Asian flush. Is this when you turn red?
Yeah, from alcohol. So I don't
flush.
think I have it.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah,
So,
stay tuned. Hello. He's like, yeah, stay tuned. I generally drink room temp water or warm water. Everyone makes fun of me, but it's I grew up that way and I can't really do cold water. What was the question? Oh, so I started kettlebells. I was training for a sport called Netball. It's not really played here in the States, but I was training for the USA University team and I broke my foot. And I think it was 6 to 8 months out from a world championship. And the options were either get surgery and hopefully run again after a year. Maybe I never run again, or I'd do strength training, try to do what I can and just hope for the best. And I chose hope for the best because I still wanted to try to attempt to make world championships. And kettlebells became a way that I could train my strength and conditioning without putting a lot of impact on my foot. That's kind of where I started. And that was 2015. 2015.
Tell me about netball. We've had this discussion. I think you were explaining to me at the last RKC.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about netball. I'm like, I have no clue what that is. But it seems like you were very deep into it.
Yeah.
And you're saying world championship. So this is a really big deal.
So I was in the university team. So it wasn't the world real championships, I guess. But I went to a British international school when I grew up in Shanghai, and netball is primarily a Commonwealth country sport. The big netball powers are Australia, England,
all
South
the
Africa,
British territories
all the
that
territories.
the Queen used to rule.
Yes. So it's not.
Porco.
Yeah. So it's not an Olympic sport. They're attempting to get into the Olympics, and that was kind of the draw when I joined the team back in 2014. That eventually, hopefully, will get to the Olympics. But it is, they have their own netball world championships every 4 years, and they have the Commonwealth Games every 4 years as well. So, it's a pretty big sport outside of the US. It's actually the most played women's sport in the world.
Is it?
Because it's primarily a women's sport. There are men's leagues and there's mixed leagues, but when you say netball, in England, overseas, it tends to be a women's sport.
From what I understand, it seems like it's a little bit from the few I'm very misinformed, so just bear with me. It's like from the few images, video clips that I've seen, it's sort of like basketball. There's no backboard. There's a rim. You try to shoot at it. It's a mix of basketball, handball that goes into it.
A little bit, yeah. So it's like on a basketball-sized court. It's a little bit longer, but here we tend to play in basketball-sized courts.
Mhm.
The hoop doesn't have a backboard, so it's just like a post and a net. And like the rules for ultimate frisbee, where you catch the frisbee, you can take one step.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can take one step and pivot. That's the same with netball. So it's a very fast-paced passing game. And there are positions. So only 2 people per team can shoot, and 2 people per team can block the shooters or like guard the shooters. So my position was mid-court, and I basically ferry the ball up and down court. And that tends to be like much more like high impact, like sprinting position. So it's quite fast. Like a good game of netball goes really, really fast.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like during the Olympics, I've been watching a lot. Obviously in the Olympics, people watch sports, no one gets a chance to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like one of those sports for me was like handball, which I watched once every 4 years, and rugby sevens. And rugby sevens for women's was so fun. And it's a 14-minute game. The game is 2 7-minute halves, and the USA got the bronze, and it was like the most exciting finish that I've seen. So
yeah. So I mean, I've been following Ilona Maher for a really long time because growing up, I also played rugby, and netball and rugby actually kind of went hand in hand because netball was like the girls' sport and rugby was the guys' sport, so we'd always go to tournaments together. I mean, sevens really erupted here like a couple years ago. I remember because I went to the rugby sevens because I was a netball player and they had this whole like sports. It was interesting, but it's really interesting how it just like exploded here in the US. And like when I first came to the US, I could not get to football because I watched so much rugby growing up.
American football.
American football, not soccer. But so I would see, the ball go down, they tackle, and then they have to reset. And I'd be like, God, what is the appeal of this? This is so slow. It's not exciting.
Why don't they play a real sport like rugby seven?
Exactly. It's like you got hit once and now they have to reset.
Yeah.
And they switched the whole team for offensive defense.
Lame.
I mean,
and you have to go to Rutherford to watch a game, like in that swamp, that dirty swamp.
Now that you think about any of the sports that are popular here in America seems to be sports that have a lot of breaks in between, whether or not that's because of sponsorships maybe some advertisements.
Maybe.
But it does sound like from other countries, sports are more like faster pace.
Yeah.
And just constantly going.
Yeah. Like, so I'm more used to that. I remember when my boyfriend first like watched the US play, the US women's play rugby. It wasn't their like bronze, the final match, and he was like, "Oh my God, they just keep going. Like the ball goes down and then they get the ball and they keep going." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I don't really like football."
Yeah. I want the US to like make a push for rugby sevens. I think that is a real sport. And it's over in half an hour. The game's over. I remember when the Olympics started. All right, here's the opening ceremony. All right, now on to the finals of rugby sevens. Like, how did we get here? I didn't even see any build up. Like, it's just 30-minute games. Yeah. I
mean, the men's rugby team is actually pretty good now. They used to be a joke, honestly. Like people, I remember, cause I have friends who play in, for other countries, and they're like, yeah, honestly, like the USA before, like we never really played them because they didn't take it seriously, but now they're like a big contender in world rugby.
Very good.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've been watching a little bit of, rugby. It was on Netflix, and it's like full rugby. I think it's like a 15.
Yeah.
I think rugby sevens is a lot more fun.
It's much more fast paced.
It's fast paced, fewer people. And I'm assuming it's a shorter game.
Yeah.
I think that's a real sport right there.
It's the combination of strength, conditioning, and like just speed and power. But like to keep that up, I think rugby players are some of the most like the fittest people in the world, honestly.
And if they were running right at you, you don't want to be in their way.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You step aside or run the other way.
All right. So, we discussed that you, started your career in Shanghai, China. Mm-hmm. And I just want to know, like, can you describe the differences in like the ideology of fitness in like East versus West? Like, what is it like in mainland China compared to how it is in America from your experience? Because you've experienced both.
Oh, yeah. I mean, growing up, I was always into sports. So I was like, I mean, I swam a lot when I was younger, so like I have broader shoulders. And I just remember as a kid, people like my mom and other like women in my family being like, oh, but like you can't look pretty in dresses. They're like, oh, you don't want to get too muscular. Like the boys won't like you. And I'm like, I want to play rugby. I want to hit them to the ground. But yeah, so that was like a big thing growing up, being like, oh, like you don't want to get too big. Like, oh, you gain a little bit of weight. Why can't your skin be pale? Like I was always out in the sun, you know. They're like, wow, you're so dark. Like what, why? But yeah, so
this is our family.
Yeah.
It's our family back home.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
It's very, it's crazy just going back. And like people obviously, well, they can tell immediately that I'm not full, like I'm full Chinese, but I'm not like Chinese. I'm American Chinese. Because like my skin tone and the way like my body looks and the way I dress. But like playing a lot of sports, like obviously like, and that ideology didn't really mesh that well. And I remember coming here and to be competitive in netball when I first joined the team, I had to gain muscle because I was tiny. I was being pushed around. And I worked really hard to gain 10 pounds of muscle. And then, you know, going back to China, they're like, oh, but like, why do you want to do that? You know, and it's like, well, I worked really hard for this.
For the gains.
Yeah. I was really proud of like, you know, how fast I got, like how strong I got. And that's kind of how I got my first fitness job, is because I was working out in a gym in Shanghai, and the owner was like, I was back home for a year. And the owner was like, hey, do you train? I'm like, no. And he goes, are you looking for a job? I said, no. And he goes, well,
you're hired.
Yeah. It's like, you speak English, you're a girl, and you look like you work out.
Yeah.
You start tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, and I'll pay you. And I was like, okay, great. So that's how I got started as a trainer.
Look at that. Look at that. What would have happened if he didn't approach you, or you would have said no?
Well,
yeah.
I would have actually, I wanted to become a trainer when I came back here because I was only home for a year. And then my boss, he was actually my boss in New York Sports Club, but he was my mentor for a couple of years, and he taught me kettlebells. He was strong first. He told me to graduate college first before going to work for him. So that was my goal. Like that was my plan. But then I worked for this other guy in China while I was home for a year. And then, like all the other trainers were guys into bodybuilding. Either like two of them were into bodybuilding and one was into like women's fitness in China, which is another word for like toning and being lean and telling them not to eat that much because you want to be skinny, right? You don't want to lift a lot of weights because otherwise you get too bulky, and then you want your waist to be as small as possible. So it was kind of a weird thing where this guy hired me because I'm a woman, and he wanted me to train more women in the gym, but they all didn't want to train with me because they're like, we don't want to look like you. And
this is so sad.
it was so sad. I was like, please, I just want to like tell someone how to do like squats.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, I'm like, you're not going to look like me. And they're like, but how come you lift and you look like that? I'm like, I shoved 4,000 calories, not 4,000, but like over 3,000 calories in my face every day for 2 months to just gain some muscle. Like I remember I was in college and I was at my kitchen counter looking at my macro calculator being like, oh my God, I'm still so far off. I'm like shoving ramen in my face, being like, I need to gain weight.
Get that cottage cheese in.
Oh God, like cracking eggs and just like blending them, being like, I think I can do this.
There's some bodybuilders that wake up at like 2 a.m. to get
just to eat,
and then they go back to sleep.
Yeah, because they're eating in a 4-hour period.
They can't be fasted. You gotta be in there. You gotta be in the antibiotic window, maybe.
But like, it took a really long time for me to explain to these women who are going to this gym all the time that like you're not going to look like me in like 2 weeks, right? Like I tell you to do one squat, you're not going to like your quads aren't going to explode, you know. Or I tell you to do shoulder press with something slightly heavier, you're not going to Hulk out. So it was a long process because people were looking at the bodybuilders and then they were looking at like this other trainer who was just doing like, oh, you have to do a lot of stretching and like, here are some 3-pound weights and we're just going to do like these, right? Like,
I feel like there's some trainers like that here.
Well, yeah.
They're all over the place.
They're all over.
They're in New York Sports Club.
Right.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, very New York Sports Club. But yeah, so I remember when I first started training, my first client actually wasn't Chinese. She was an expat because, she understood. She was like, I just want to get my knee, like she had a knee injury. She was like, I just want to be stronger because when I have surgery, I don't want to have a really long recovery time. And so it was like, from then on, they were like, oh, I guess you're fine. But it was just like that battle of being like, you can squat more than 10 pounds and you can eat more than a bowl of rice a day. And taking that and coming back here, and there was like so many different ways, like so many different, how do I say, like ideas of fitness here in terms of like, I want to do powerlifting. I want to do bodybuilding. I want to be like a functional fitness person. So it's just a very different situation where it was easier to explain myself here than it was over in China. Because here I got more of a, wow, like, can you suggest like a shoulder exercise for me? Or can you watch my squat and see if it's good rather than like trying and fighting to have someone do a squat or a deadlift.
Yeah. So, it almost does seem like by all these examples that you just stated that there are different cultural differences when it comes from West to East, and just by your experience of training your first client who was an expat who just wanted to work out, wasn't really concerned about getting bulky or getting too much muscle on them, versus the people that you were training back in China where they were just afraid to even squat.
Yeah.
So I even have that example. I have that issue here as well. It's like a lot of people look at me like I give them the workouts that I normally do, thinking that they will get like I am, not knowing that I've actually been training for 10, 12 years very hard. So I like the example that I actually learned from a different podcast, that you're never going to look any bigger than you are after your workout. Because that's when your muscles are all swollen up, you've had a good workout, and then you probably after 12 hours, your muscles are not going to be as swollen anymore and you're going to kind of shrink.
Yeah.
So that's what I normally tell like a lot of my, especially female clients. It's like, just lift. You'll probably look a little bigger because you're a little bit more swollen after your workout. Yeah. But tomorrow you'll morph back and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think here for clients, I have started getting to the habit of being like, look what you can do. Like, look at this, or have them do, like, for example, I have one client, she came to me because she was like, again, she wanted to be like toned and lean and long. And now she's like deadlifting and like doing push-ups. And the other day she did like 2 more than she could normally do. And I was like, oh my God, look at you. She's like, yeah, I'm so freaking strong. And she has a daughter now because we coached her through like pregnancy and postpartum. And now she's like, I can show my daughter that I can do push-ups and I can actually like show her to like be a strong woman. And that's like really, really fun for me to see.
Out of all the females that you've trained that actually got strong, has any of them complained that they got strong or they even packed on some muscle on their frame?
No. I mean, I'm sure like you see that where you're like, you just get started with someone who's maybe scared of lifting. And then after a while, like they will come and be like super excited, being like, wow, look at this little bicep I got. Like, look at this little
they get bought in. They get bought in later. Yeah. I do feel like you're not lying when they say got a tone. I'm like, yeah, we'll get you there. It's sort of like we're not lying. We're stretching the truth a little bit, you know? So I don't know like how you respond to like people when they say they got a tone.
I just smile and nod. You're like, and I don't honestly say anything anymore.
Well, it's also like, it depends.
It depends, guys. That's a good answer to anything. Yeah. Even if you don't know the answer.
It depends. Let me Google it real quick.
But even like the word toning, I'm like that. I don't like that word because to tone is it's not like a verb. It's, like, so, and when people say to tone, I'm like, oh, so to lose some fat and gain some muscle. They're like, no, we don't want to gain muscle. I'm like, okay, but you want like lines, right? You want like the muscle lines.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, but we need to build muscle so there are lines.
Yeah, I feel like we gotta like they're afraid of the muscle.
They are,
and you gotta sort of like I feel like you gotta like push it aside until when they get it, and then I feel like they gotta buy into it. Like, further down the road.
So like Manny does like we can do that.
All right. Do some squats. Give me 10 of those.
Yeah. It's like, it'll get you toned.
Megan, let's talk about, you were discussing in our workout that you just recently became a bell mechanics coach.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what that is, how you came about it, and how does that experience different from like, let's say the RKC that you and I experienced, and like you said, your coach was also a strong first instructor. So can you just like elaborate on the differences between those different
Certifications.
certifications?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, going back to the very beginning. So when I first started doing fitness stuff, like I was rehabbing myself. Like in China, I didn't really have access to PTs or anything, so I would train myself and go from everything from like a medical standpoint. Be like, okay, so my knee hurts. Like I have to build up stuff around my knee, or like I have to figure out like which muscle to strengthen. So that has played a lot into my training with like a lot of my clients, because a lot of my clients, they are either, well, back when I was training at New York Sports Club, they were either older, so 50 plus, or coming to me with injuries. So like just from the very beginning of my training career, I was always like, how can I help someone feel the strongest they've ever been without pain? And that's been kind of my mantra for myself. Like I want people to like have to be able to move freely and to feel less pain. And Bell Mechanics is not just a kettlebell certification. It is also kind of like in that sense of like, how can I help someone be better, or like how can I help someone be stronger, or like circumvent like an injury, or how do I, it's just like something that's medical almost, like I'm giving you a solution for your ailment. And that's through movement really. So movement really is medicine. And for RKC and Strong First, it's more so like, I feel like those certifications are more certifications for coaches. And like when I did RKC 1, it didn't really feel to me client centric. So like, yes, I went there to be able to get more knowledge to give to my clients.
Did you take the one with 60 people outdoors?
I have so many things to say about that, but
if you want to express, but if not, whatever.
Yeah.
It's nice to say.
This
could be another time, but we could.
This might take a while, but let's just say it was not. I waited 7 years to take that cert because I thought I wasn't good enough, or I couldn't pass the cert. I should have taken it earlier. Since there was so many people, and since it wasn't like in a controlled setting, I felt like I didn't get the attention I wanted in terms of like, okay, so if we're going to go through each movement, this is how we're going to scale it back, coach it to a client. And I wanted feedback on how I was going to cue a client through something, or say like have a scenario being like, if they give me being like, oh, this person can't put weight on their wrists, like what are you going to do about that, and stuff like that. So something that will help my clients, and that's why I picked the certification, to be a better trainer. And Bell Mechanics, it's really a certification that's just for like coaches who do want to do better by their clients. So it is based on kettlebells, but we learn more so about movement patterns, and how we can help someone discover or like expand into their movement patterns that benefit their lifestyle.
I do appreciate that. Even though whatever experience you had at level 1, I'm glad you stuck around for level 2, and then eventually we met up, and I'm glad you know.
Level 2 was the certification I wanted. Like I'm very, very happy I did level 2 with Dan John. So
we will host one in February, guys, in Jersey City. Ironbound Performance. But if you want to assist, you should definitely reach out.
Oh, yeah. I think I tried assisting at the one in Momentum, but I think I was a little bit too late for those like before. But so I just want to help other coaches find kind of their strengths and step into being like a better coach and into serving their clients. So I also really believe in Belt Mechanics because Sam Chacha, who is the founder, I've been following for a while. She and Lacey Lazoff, way back when, 2015, 2016, when Instagram was still kind of like baby. I was learning kettlebells from my coach. Well, he worked I was at a crunch, but I wasn't training and I wasn't like working there. My boss later, my mentor, he was kind of giving me like tips on the side. He was like, oh, you should do this. And that it wasn't like real training. So I would watch videos of Sam and Lacey like demoing the movements on Instagram. That's really how I learned. So just having that knowledge of like, I know what Sam represents and what she wants to give back to the industry. Like, I really also believe that.
Cool. So let's look into a Instagram post that I saw, and you got featured in Shape magazine.
I did.
Yeah. So you were demonstrating the kettlebell swing, and I think the article, and I'll have Leah edit in and show the video. Maggie's in it doing a swing. Everybody,
Right over here.
right over here.
Yeah.
Okay. How did this come about, and like why the kettlebell swing?
In terms of like the movement.
Like,
itself?
I'm assuming like they wanted to focus on that movement specifically, from what I read from that article.
Yeah. So, honestly, I just got an email that I thought was spam. I left it for a
Read
couple
your
days.
spam, guys. There might be like
Opportunity.
Yeah. Well,
Finance.
yeah, exactly. So like, it wasn't in my spam folder, but now I do periodically check my spam folder. But it came through, and I was like, weird, because the email wasn't like Self Magazine. It was like their parent company.
Condé Nast.
Yeah. And at first I was like, people could spoof that, right? But yeah, I waited a couple days and I responded. But they really just reached out. They're like, hey, we think you'd be a good fit for a campaign. I'm like, okay, cool. And at first they were like, we just wanted some more movements in the library. So like, if we do post any workouts in the future, like if you are filmed doing the exercise, you're just going to be slotted in. So you're really just going to be demoing stuff for us. I was like, yeah. And they specifically wanted kettlebell people. They wanted like a person to demo kettlebell movements. And they said, I think you'll be great for that. And I really wasn't given any more information. I was told to show up at a certain time.
That is so shady.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
yeah, it's very sketchy. It sounds
why-
like, wow, come into this place. You should definitely tell everybody where you are in your GPS.
yeah. So, I mean, it's really cool because like the magazine wants to film you doing exercises, but they're like, yeah, so, we'll reach out with further details, but just keep this date free. I'm like, okay, I'll keep that date free. And then like the day before they were like, oh, here, like show up at this time, but just to like one building. They didn't say like which floor. They didn't say, anyway, it was a whole thing. And then I found out that, Tina was also featured, and I missed her because they had us in blocks.
Okay.
So-
you didn't see each other each
No,
other.
she came earlier that day and I only saw it because she posted on her Instagram, and they told me that I shouldn't post on my Instagram. It was like,
On the DL.
so on the DL, and I was like,
Interesting.
that's weird. So, but like, I think we got different people too. It was very interesting. Anyway, so that was fun. I didn't know what they were doing it for, until after, and they were like, oh, here are featured trainers or athletes, and everyone that I met or everyone that was featured, we created a group that, and we're like, did you know this was happening? And everyone's like, no. We thought we were there for an entirely different thing.
It could have easily turned into like a scene from Saw. You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I feel like that's how they get
Except
you.
it was in like the World Trade Building.
Yeah.
So with that high security, I was like, at least someone's gonna know I'm in the building.
Yeah, I'm not getting kidnapped today.
Yeah, like
Say that, man.
Oh.
like I almost didn't get let in because they didn't get my real name's Margaret, but they put like Maggie on the list to let in, and when it didn't match up with my driver's license, they're like, you can't come in. You can't, like you have to call someone and they have to let you in. And of course, no one's on call because they were doing the photo shoot.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
it was intense. Anyway, so the kettlebell swing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You got in eventually.
yeah, but when people are like, "Oh, so how did you get that? Like, do you have any tips on how to?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, they just emailed me, so I guess just keep doing what you're doing. Stay consistent.
Read your spam, folks.
Read your
You're
spam.
gonna get into Men's Health and Sports Illustrated.
Practice what you preach."
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Be realistic. Yeah. Anyway, kettlebell swing. I love the kettlebell swing. So I think they just wanted more videos of kettlebell movements because there was a huge like hype around kettlebells like since COVID. And I think that's because like when all the dumbbells sold out, they were like, oh, kettlebells are also weights, but we don't know what to do with them.
And then they got sold out.
And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it was funny because like before, like the the kettlebells really got sold out. I got kettlebells really, really cheap because people were like, no one really wants these. I guess if you take them, you take them. And I'm like, oh, that still seems pricey, but like I got 3 kettlebells for $100.
That's a good deal. I've been to a couple of gyms that closed down and they're like, hey, can you throw in this? It was like a Dragon Door 16 kilo. And I know what the value of this. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We use
This whole thing?
We use it as a doorstop. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
For like a stove.
That was what my boss, before like the lockdown happened, he came up to me and he's like, hey, do you have any kettlebells at home? I'm like, no. And he goes, take some right now before anyone sees you. So yeah, that was a great time. But I think, kettlebell swing is great for just general conditioning and strength. I mean, I started kettlebells because I was trying to rehab an injury and also like maintain my fitness. It's just full body. Like you'll feel the cardio. It's a continuous movement, right?
Yeah.
So squats, like, with the front squats, I can squat down, come up and just have a couple breaths and reset and then go back down. Yeah. When the weight's moving, it doesn't stop. You can't stop either unless you put it down. So I like to say that you are controlling the weight, but you also have to work with the weight, because when a heavy weight is swinging around you, if you try to like yank that around, it's just not going to end well for either of you or anyone around you. But it is, I think if you do nothing else, I think kettlebell swings are one of the best things, like the staple exercises you should do.
We've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
You hear that, Manny?
Kettlebell
swings is like what you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We're actually going to go around the room. We're going to go into our rapid fire segment. And we're going to go around the room and I will regurgitate what Haley says because she's without a mic at the moment. And whatever questions I may ask may be questions I have asked before. So let's come up with a different answer. Okay? So let's go through this in a rapid fire segment. All right?
I got an idea.
Yeah, we'll do good.
We share this mic.
Haley
Producer Haley takes this mic.
Very good.
There you go.
All right. Okay, guys, into the rapid fire segment we go. All right, guys, and I'll start with Maggie. What is a good book to read? And I want you and Teddy to name one fitness and one non-fitness book that you recommend.
Oh no. This is not rapid fire at all.
You are done. Next question.
Right. We'll come back to you.
Okay, great.
Manny, you've got this question before. One fitness, one non-fitness, one book to read.
Non-fitness, The Alchemist. That's probably the first fiction book I've ever read, and I've read it in like 3 hours, I guess. That's really, really good story. And a fitness book, 20 Lessons for Life, by some kind of exercise psychologist. I'm sorry for forgetting your name, but that's it.
Producer Haley.
Oh, really? I can't even think of like a fitness book.
Give me a non-fitness book. Give me a non-fitness book. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Twilight.
Dune 2.
Dune was somebody's answer. Is that your answer?
No, it was not mine. That was
I can't even think right now.
Yeah.
We'll come back to this question.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even, because you said fitness, and I freaked out a little bit, and I can't think of anything.
All right, not a problem. Let's
the NASM.
Volume 7, 2019.
You asked this question in a prior episode, and I don't want to repeat.
That's true. Okay, we'll go back to this. The next question, I think you would probably get a better answer for this one. I think it should pop off the top of your head. One place you would like to travel to eventually that you've never been to before.
Ooh. I would like to go to Tunisia.
Tunisia?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very good answer. Emmanuel.
The North Pole.
To see Santa?
Yeah. It's my childhood hero. Come on now. Who else was giving my gifts when I was younger?
All right, Producer Haley, where are we going to next year?
Oh, I want to say the Galapagos.
Galapagos.
You want to go see the iguanas and all that?
No, it's the tortoises.
Yeah.
Tortoises?
Big tortoises.
Yeah. That's a good answer. Okay. Very good. What mistakes should a beginner avoid when first starting out?
Is it me?
It could be anybody.
Okay. Worrying about the right thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like toning.
Yeah, or like being like, oh, should I do this squat instead of this? I say squats a lot this episode, but like, should I do like an RDL versus a deadlift, or should I do like kettlebell? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Compound.
Just do the movement.
Man.
Not being too specific about your training.
Mm.
Be more diverse.
Yeah.
Producer in.
Pick up some weights. For sure. Because
I love that.
a lot of people just go into like, I want to lose weight. I'm just going to walk on a treadmill for like an hour and then go home. And it's like, this is why every box gym has like a bajillion treadmills. And it's just like, no, we pick up some weights.
Yeah.
All right. We got, I think, the three of you are like New York City people. Was that very accurate?
You see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
Give me your best NYC food spots. 1, 2, or 3. You in no particular order. Producer Haley, you got something
Oh, boy.
that you haven't.
Oh, I'm going first?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, whatever. Very fresh noodles, Chelsea Market in general.
Ooh.
A good one. Like the variety. I'm all for supporting your local Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple buns.
We were talking about pineapple buns.
Pineapple
earlier.
buns.
So absolutely.
How do you pronounce? I don't want to butcher it.
Meilawa.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good. Avoid the lines, guys. Go past the line.
Mhm.
Sorry.
I'm getting you say it. Actually, we're not gatekeepers here.
Yeah.
We want everyone to feel included.
Manny.
Any 3.5-star restaurant you can find in Chinatown.
3.5 stars.
Yeah, or below.
Give me one 3.5 or below.
I don't even know how to read it, so that's how well you know. How
Oh yeah,
good it
if they
is.
come up to you and start speaking Chinese.
Yep. Even though listed on Google, it's all Chinese. That's where you go.
Yeah.
Hopkey was my college spot, and Haley introduced me to
What about the one
Joe
on?
Shanghai.
What's the
yeah.
one on Mott Street?
Whoa, wow.
There's a lot. Everything's on Mott Street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
then
if you're
specific-
drunk and in New York, there's 69 Bayard.
Oh, 69 is so
Those are the
salt and pepper squid.
Ooh, yeah.
All right.
Well, in Chinatown, I like to go to Noodle Village. If you eat pig strutters, they do really well there. And that's how
What
you
is
know pig strutters, like pig's feet,
Pig.
Yeah.
Shutters?
trotters.
Trotters.
So, yeah.
I love the pig in all its forms. I've had pig face chopped up and whatever. So I don't think I've had pig feet.
It
But-
takes a certain type of cooking. Like you have to braise it or you pressure cook it, and like a lot of places don't do it.
All right, I'm bookmarking this and we're going
Yeah.
this
So
weekend.
Noodle Village.
Noodle Village.
Korean barbecue, Nubiani, is so good.
Nobiani, where's that?
Yeah, it's on 32nd and 5th, I want to say. Or 33rd and 5th. It's like, they only really go by word of mouth. You know, it's a nice Korean barbecue place.
Bring a Korean friend to speak Korean, and then that's.
But it's like it's like a fancy place. But I would go there over Kote.
Oh, yes.
Oh, cool. It's very hard to get in, and you drop in like your entire paycheck.
Yeah, and it's not even like, Nubiani's better. Yeah.
Interesting.
And, oh gosh, Salatai in the Upper West Side for Thai food.
Thai.
Is that Thai?
Salatai, yeah.
It's Thai.
I've not been to Salatai. Have you been to Salatai? I'm just a Jersey kid, right? I just go to Domino's. All right, okay. Fitness goals you're looking to achieve in the future.
In the future? Like how long in the future?
Close or eventually before your time is coming.
Wow.
Look, I got goals that I got to do before I die,
Yeah.
and I know what it is.
Well,
and it's
okay.
Beast Tamer this February and the RKC level 2.
Yes.
I'm
That's a
doing
good one. I think eventually I want to get
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's go. That's your pull-up.
Yeah. For my 30th birthday, me and my boyfriend decided to run the Grand Canyon from south to north and back to south.
Is that a race, or are you just
No,
running
just running.
by yourselves?
Just running. He ran Kilimanjaro in a day for his 30th.
Wow.
So
Long is Kilimanjaro? How long is the Grand Canyon?
So Kilimanjaro was 15 miles up, but most people do it in 6 days. And he found a guide who was willing to do it with him. And he did it probably like 12, 13 hours.
He went to the top of Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, from the base.
That's so cool.
And they couldn't tell anyone. They couldn't tell the officials because otherwise he wouldn't be allowed to do it. So
Why is he not supposed to?
no, because it's dangerous for one. That's why people take so long to do it.
Because you have to acclimate.
Acclimate. But we went to Colorado to acclimate a week before.
But you went there illegally, is what you're trying to say.
No.
No.
It's just you can't jump.
Whoa, we're not.
They already achieved it, so it's like
We follow the law here.
Very legal.
Very legal. But he couldn't tell the park rangers what he was doing. And they're like, oh, like, you're just going out for a couple days. He's like, yeah, a couple days.
12 hours later.
Yeah.
It's been a couple days.
Yeah, right. So now I want to run the Grand Canyon. So
Producer Haley?
Question for me, or
Yes, for our round table.
I mean, eventually, yeah, I think that's the goal. As someone that's also in RKC, be an Ironman. For sure.
Not that many names that are up there.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
it's Manny?
I'd probably say right now my biggest goal is 3.5 marathon time while still keeping my upper body strength, and in 3 years, Ironman.
oh, that's a good one.
That's a full marathon and then race and bike, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Swim.
Swim 2.3 miles, full marathon, and I believe 100 miles on the bike.
Yeah.
What is a guilty pleasure movie that you like? That not many people know that you like? I'll start with one. It's Fran Drescher and Timothy Dalton.
Oh my gosh, beautician.
The Beautician and the Beast. I think it's very enchanting, and I can't admit, but I just admitted it right now on the internet that I really like that movie. I really like that movie.
Never be scrubbed from anyone.
Yeah,
Ever.
so
Internet's forever.
I watched that as a kid. I think it was a very sweet movie, but that's not something I go to my boys like, "Yay, you know, a movie you gotta watch." You know?
Pushes the microphone away.
Anybody else got something to share that they don't know that you like?
I used to be really into B-list movies. Before, when you had to search on iTunes for movies and stuff, and they would give you recommendations, there's a whole category of B-list movies. And I will not stop talking about Sharktopus.
Sharktopus.
We saw so bad.
Was it an octopus head with a...
Wait, is this like Sharknado? I've seen Sharknado 3
I actually haven't seen
with
Sharknado.
Tara Reid.
But this was, it starts because it's like a Navy operation, whatever. But it's a shark head with tentacles, and it's just such bad CGI and such bad acting that I don't know. I really love that shit.
All right, Sharktopus. I've seen Sharknado 3. That's as much as I'll do. I skip 1 and 2. Producer Haley.
Oh boy. It's not bad. I would say it's not bad, but then I'll put it in a category of super nerdy. I would say Lord of the Rings.
I think everybody likes Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
A lot of, but it's very polarizing. Some people are just oh, how can you sit through that? It's so long. But I like Lord of the Rings.
No.
Finding Nemo be on?
Oh, that's so good.
It's a great
really
movie.
good one. I think that's
But
the
yeah,
best
it's
one.
not fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's a kid.
Yeah.
But with very deep undertones.
For sure.
Yeah. All Disney movies I find are have
As of late.
very,
Oh my gosh. Very intense.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Who should people follow in the fitness industry?
Me, obviously.
That's right.
That's right. Follow Maggi Gao
At Maggi Gao.
at Maggi Gao. There you go.
Well, no, but I think Dan John's a good one. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm always going to say that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna feel like I'm really promoting biomechanics, but Sam Cha-Cha, she has really, really good info out there. Katie St. Clair. If you don't know who she is. She
CrossFit?
No,
I'm
she's
thinking Tia St. Clair.
she's a lot of she also is kind of like Sam. She does a lot of medical and training stuff and how to fix a problem almost. If you have a problem, how do we fix it? How do we go forward from it? And compound performance. Kyle Dobbs. So
Kyle though?
Yeah.
Was in Crunch.
He
He was in Crunch when I was in
He was
Crunch.
actually the general manager when I was training there. He was my mentor's boss. So that's how I know him. Like, that's why I followed him eventually. And I was like, oh, you actually, wow, I really like this information. So, yeah, give him a follow.
Man,
I'd say Omnia Performance. They're a group of Fergus Crawley. Man, his team. Craziest thing he's done was a double Ironman.
Wow.
So he did an Ironman, and right after that, he did another Ironman.
Whoa.
So this guy's bonkers. I actually train with them right now for my half marathon prep and
Oh, wow.
doing my marathon prep after that. Kyle Dobbs is definitely a good one.
Yeah.
I used to train with him and took his mentorship. So that's a good one.
Oh, wait, when did you take his mentorship? I took it. too.
Long.
Oh, okay. I did
This was
mine-
like before the pandemic.
Oh, okay. So I was in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd say one very polarizing one would be Pat Davidson.
Oh, yeah. He's,
Yeah.
but again,
comedian?
that's how you get engagement.
Yeah.
he dated Kardashian?
What?
No, not Pete Davidson.
What?
Pat Davidson. Yeah.
He worked at Hype.
Yeah. I used to work with him at Hype. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, I used to
Okay.
work at Hype and at Crunch too. He didn't work at Crunch, but I worked at
Yeah.
Hype. And yeah, they're super knowledgeable, but you definitely need thick skin to be able to sit in a room and listen to what he has to say because
Yeah.
it's not for the faint-hearted.
But he has good nuggets of information.
Oh, this man is a genius.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Oh, me? Feel like Jason Momoa.
Ooh, I love them. They're so fun.
Yes.
Yes.
They're like at 1.3 million followers now.
Crazy, yeah.
Really good.
They were my team leaders when I took Strong First Level.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
They were like, there's a picture in their thing, and I'm like, I'm in that picture. There's like a big group of people in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I really like his stuff.
Me, it's the Liver King.
Okay.
All right, before we end this, did anybody figure out a book or not? Or
No.
Oh,
All right,
not
we-
fitness, but
just a non-fitness book?
oh, now I lost it. But I'm reading Mindhunter right now. It's actually pretty.
Mindhunter?
Yeah.
Is that a show on Netflix?
Yeah, but it's basically.
Oh, it's about serial killers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you into serial killer documentaries?
I used to, my podcast I used to only listen to were unsolved murders and serial killers. So
I thought she was about to say I used to be a serial killer.
Oh, no.
and that's perfectly okay.
I used to. Oh.
This is a safe space. Obviously.
I listen to Rock Rainbow, and she has a lot of like unsolved stuff, like international
Ooh.
stuff too. So.
but now I listen to normal gossip and melt my brain. So it's pretty good though.
Nice. Very good. Anybody come up with any books? You came up with a book, right? Any book? Non-fiction, fiction? Elephant Man?
Yes.
He has that reggae song, right?
No, not that Elephant Man.
All right.
Like the guy that had elephantitis and how he was treated because of his deformity.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, guys, I love these
That's
type
a
of
term.
I love these type of interviews. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so
Thanks.
good.
I have a question now.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You were talking about your experience in Shanghai, and I think like as a woman, what changes do you want to see in fitness?
I want to see. Well, first of all, like I mean, on social media, you see like one type of like not one type of workout, but you see like a certain aesthetic.
Mhm.
I want people to know that that's not normal, that everyone can't achieve that because it's their body type. You know, everyone has different body types. I want women to be more at the forefront, especially people of color.
Yeah.
Especially like being hired for like different jobs and being more visible and higher up positions. And I just want people to be more supportive of each other.
Awesome. Great answer.
That's where
Yes.
That's the mic drop right there. I really
Yes.
fantastic answer to end on. This has been really fun, informative, very great. I'm glad I got to do a workout, for free. So that was got a free drink. That was my payment. It's really like
It was really good, yeah.
legit and tonic over here. Hopefully it's room temperature by now.
Perfect.
So, where can people find you on the socials? What are you trying to promote? What's anything coming up in the next couple months?
So, well, you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok-ish. But again, I'll respond more on Instagram because that's more fun. I think that's like more fun at social media app. At Maggi Gao. And I have a website at maggigao.com. You can reach out to me through email, DM. If you have my number, text me. And yeah, I just do online training. I do like right now I'm accepting clients for like form checks as well as people who want to learn more about kettlebells or just want to chat with me about kettlebells. Anything about kettlebells really. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to have more friends.
There you go, guys. It's all about the friends we meet along the way, not the destination. All right. Any closing remarks? Solid. Thank you guys for joining. Another one coming up. Really appreciate, everyone that's listening. Send this to 3 people and tell them to send 3 more people. And it will keep this going until we eventually run out of people. All right. All right, guys.
All the people in the world.
Adios. Thank you.